intense.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Best of 3. Can we talk about that awesome intro, guys? We're moving up, dude. Did you see that thing busting through the wall? I'm your host, Efren Salinas, as always. With me, Michael Donka Schiller. Donka Shane, the beard. This is week 4 of future bearded Ryu cosplay Donka.
It's going to happen.
And, of course, co-producer of today's episode, Radical Ray Chun.
Yep, got the beard too.
I already made the joke last week, man. Some of us can't grow beards. Some of us can. Homeboy here is leading the charge. We're really excited about today's episode for a variety of reasons. First of all is that Absolute Battle's coming up this week. And one of our favorite competitors from outside of Texas is going to be present to do work. And he is none other than Ryan Filipino Champ Ramirez. Ryan, are you there, buddy?
Yes, I'm here. What's up, guys?
Dude,
How's it going?
We're doing good. We're really excited to have you on the show because, I don't know, for me, you represent, depending on the day, the best parts of the FGC, right? Like somebody who is real, who talks trash, who backs it up, and an Evo champ to boot.
Well, you know what? I think it's been out already why I do those things. I think it's great majority of it before when I first started doing those was to get my name out there and to promote more characters in FGC. But then later on down the line, people start meeting me in person. It's like, all right, okay, now we know what's up, you know? Because like a lot of people do hate me. They never met me. But then when they finally meet me, I would say like 70. I have a very good turnaround ratio. Like 70% of the people that meet me, they actually think that I'm not that bad. You know, I'm pretty okay.
You know, the interview section comes later, and we're looking forward to it, but that is definitely one of the things I wanted to talk about. People think of you as the villain, and you have called yourself the villain on many occasions.
I love that. Please call me a villain.
But when people meet you, you're right. When the times that I've had an opportunity to interview you in the past or talk to you, you seem like the nicest guy. So we're going to get into what the real F-Champ is, but we'll save that for round 2. Ryan, we look forward to talking to you here a little bit further in the show.
Okay.
All right, so if you've never watched this show, we break it up into 3 rounds. Round 1 is news. What happened over the weekend? There was some cool stuff that came out, including Karn, and we're going to get into it. And then round 2 will be an interview with Ryan, Filipino Champ, Evo Champ, Ramirez. And then round 3, we're going to do some cool analysis, and we'll have some funny surprises for you. All right, so round 1. See those special effects? Look at that, guys. Come on, we're moving up. That looks great. Okay, the first thing that we want to talk about, of course, and we mentioned at the top of the show, is that Absolute Battle is going on this weekend in Dallas. So for us Texas guys, that's great news. It's one of the biggest and best tournaments that occurs every year. Every year they up their production quality. Panda X Gaming, Panda down there, I think has something really special in store for everybody. But I wanted to list some of the names that are going to be there. These are mainly people from outside of Texas. Of course, in Texas we have a lot of heavy hitters, but coming from outside are Persia and IFC Yipes, presumably to commentate and hopefully to compete. We have, of course, F-Champ, who is the headliner on one of the exhibition matches, and we're going to talk about that too with him. K-Brad. Give it up for K-Brad. That's going to be exciting for a lot of fans. Golden Boy Neo. Hopefully nothing gets stolen. Flux. Noel Brown. And also on this list that Ray made for us is Hamad. Hamad, of course, is not from out of town, although I guess technically he is from the Middle East, but he's a Houston guy. Hamad has done really well at Absolute Battles before, although if I recall, his exhibition with Snake Eyes didn't go all that well. But we're excited. It's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of great matches, a lot of good production value. These exhibition matches, I think, are getting fine-tuned every year, and I'm excited about it.
Totally, and I'd like to bring up that Persia and Yipes are coming. They're going to commentate, and they've actually started a new podcast. I think it's called like Marvelous. I honestly couldn't give you the full name, but they started a new Marvel-only podcast going over tech and tricks with the game that's supposedly and somewhat really dying a little bit.
Is this the one, didn't they do one with Jan?
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. It was super well done. You know, like you could tell they took their time with it.
Yeah,
we don't have footage of it here, but definitely Persia and IFC Yipes. Who better to ask for with respects to commentating Marvel? I'm not sure if anybody is more suited. Playing behind us right now is the trailer for Absolute Battle 6. There's going to be a ton of games there. All right, let's move on to our next item. I was very excited, and you called this, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
At the Tokyo Game Show over the weekend, they announced a new character for Street Fighter V. Again, Donka, who was it?
It was Karin something Japanese. And Karin's, she was in Alpha 3. Mm-hmm. She was the most requested character in the Japanese polls, and she's been revealed, and she has, for her V skills, she has a parry palm move, and for her V trigger, she gains access to a Rekka tool with a bunch of mix-up options afterwards. So she can go into a cross-up, an overhead, a low, a command grab. She looks like a very fast-paced rushdown character. What a lot of people have noticed about her is that she has a lot of animations that are similar to Lily's from Tekken and Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And I've heard definitely mixed things. A lot of people are excited that she's in. A lot of people think she looks a little more samey than some of the other characters. But I think overall it's a good addition to the cast.
And to me, it looked a little bit like Street Fighter. You mentioned Lily. The whole ability to go into highs and lows in the middle of strings and keep your opponent guessing, that sounds like Street Fighter Cross Tekken to me. And we've also heard on numerous occasions, even from Seth Killian, that the dirty little secret of Capcom is that they reuse animations, reuse sprite, like in their old Marvel games and all those types of games, they reuse sprites and bastardize them and put them back into games. I doubt that they reused a ton of animations, but they have shown, for instance, like Armika's kick looks like El Fuerte's kick, almost like frame perfect. So,
and I mean, some of that's from those are moves. That's like an actual wrestling, drop kick, but sometimes it's a little more questionable than others. I mean, there was a bunch of glitches in early Street Fighter 4 with Hugo's moves being stolen from Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but because they had a wall bounce here and not in 4, weird things would happen. But, overall, I think the Street Fighter 5's animations look amazing so far. We've seen Ryu, his sweep looks different on hit and on block and at different ranges.
Interesting.
So they've gone definitely the extra mile compared to what they had before in terms of making things look real clean.
Ray, what do you think of Karin?
I mean, she looks like a strong, beautiful... No, I'm just kidding.
That's exactly what I was expecting to hear from you, man.
I'm actually really impressed. I have no idea who Karin is, but I mean, looking at like what she can do, it looks fun. I mean, she even has like her own butler in the background. Is that what that is? I'm not too sure.
I don't know if that's on the stage.
I'm guessing that's
or
her stage.
Yeah,
stage?
but that's
Okay.
it's pretty baller if you have your own.
I mean,
butler
yeah,
in the
she
back.
looks like a lot of fun, and I mean, can't wait to actually finally play the game and maybe get my hands on the beta.
Yeah, they're bringing out the Moneybags characters, right? You got the son of a wealthy oil baron and then the pampered girl.
Why not, man? Rich kids got to fight too, I guess.
Oh yeah.
The other thing is, and you brought this up, Ray, in the production meeting here, was this the Capcom Fighters Network was also announced at the same time as this, and this is interesting, exciting, revolutionary, part of the esports play. I'm not sure how it's going to shake out, but why don't you tell us a little bit about what's involved?
First, I think it's an incredibly ambitious project from Capcom. They want to make a global map showing players all around the world what's going on, and the biggest thing for me is statistical data on every little aspect of the game. Like you have stats on things like how many light punches you've done, your character usage, how many different types of moves you've done. It's like I don't even know like all the things they could possibly come up with.
It seems brilliant because not everybody knows Street Fighter 5 is going to bring in a ton of new fresh blood.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows to go to Shoryuken.com and forums. Not everybody knows potentially, obviously it's few and far between, but not everybody knows, let me go see what I'm doing wrong by looking up YouTube videos or anything of that nature. This will tell you, you whiffed this many dragon punches. You landed this many dragon punches. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? So other than rewatching your own replays, which is what everybody says, just watch your own replays, get back in the training room and figure it out. This is something tangible, something very specific that I think will help you improve in your game. This is something you obviously need because, as we know, in Street Fighter 5, you're doing terribly the other night.
Yeah, I think it's great that Capcom is doing this from their end. One thing I was talking with some people about is that I'm going to wonder where the community goes on making resources for Street Fighter 5 itself. Recently, playing a bit of Hearthstone, they have these algorithms that pick the drafts for you, and they have data on every single thing that happens. And in Street Fighter 4, it's hard for people who don't know where to go to find their B&Bs, And even if you're a seasoned player, just the data isn't there. People keep stuff a secret. There's not really a group of people creating content for the game on a super consistent basis for all the characters. So I'm wondering if stuff like this Capcom Fighters Network will prompt the community itself to do a lot more.
I see. That'd be interesting. There's no algorithm that'll tell you what you need to do in the round necessarily because you still have to pull it off.
No, totally. And it's not going to be the same as a turn-based game, obviously. I don't expect that. But the idea that there isn't an easy place to find your character's combos and character-specific drops and stuff like that just kind of surprises me when I've seen what other communities have. And I mean, a lot of that's because we're smaller and a lot there's less money and all that. So I'm hoping that like this push from the creators of the game itself will push us further as a community to make it easier for newcomers to come in and get better at the games, because that helps out them, it helps out us, it helps out Capcom, you know.
Staying on the Street Fighter V note here, it was announced today. If you go to CapcomUnity.com, you can see that they haven't announced the date of the next beta, but they have announced that it'll be cross-platform with PC. So I know a lot of people are really excited about that. I hope it doesn't result in the catastrophe that was the first beta, where they weren't 100% prepared for it, or maybe they were testing how few servers they needed for it to still work. Hopefully that it's seamless. Now, we're going to move through these next items pretty quickly here. Our friend Danny Ban was kind enough to let us use his video to demonstrate some of the changes that were made as a result of the latest Mortal Kombat X patch. I bring this up because Mortal Kombat X is a game that people are still competing in, by the way, and there's a tournament this weekend, and he expressed to me that it sucks that when you train and then they change it a week before the tournament. This is the pre-patch, and you'll notice the up rockets
Totally safe on block.
Are safe on block. So why don't you tell us what the difference is now?
So basically, I mean, Jacqui, who got majorly buffed in the last patch, along with Takeda and a couple other characters, and after they said this was going to be the last patch for a while, instantly got nerfed. She had a couple really silly things. This back 2 into EX rocket was incredibly abusable. I know back 2 into up rocket was a not infinite, but inescapable block string for a lot of characters, where if they didn't have a 6-frame move, they couldn't jab out, so they had to eat the hit or block forever. And based on that, they decided to change it, which is fine to an extent, but yet again, there's tournaments coming up. They said there wasn't going to be a patch, and people who picked up these new characters are now left wondering why they did it.
I mean, that sucks. And some of the change, this specific change, doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Like, it looks wonky. It looks unintentional, or like, they were like, well, this is the best we can do with it. Anyway, if you go to Danny Ban's YouTube channel, you can see this video in full, and it's Delephantz, like elephant with a D in the front and a Z at the end. Okay, so he wanted me to tell you he doesn't update that channel regularly, but that video does exist there, and it's informative. Okay, we're going to move on to the next bit of news. This I was actually pretty excited about. If you remember, there was a Brony My Little Pony fighting game that was in the works that was getting a ton of...
this?
Dude, I couldn't wait. No, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that there's a new fighting game coming from the indie game scene. That's what I'm excited about. The last major one I think we've seen that had any traction was Skullgirls, right? Unless I'm forgetting something. This is lighthearted, could be fun. One of these types of games that will bring in a crowd that otherwise would not play a fighting game and potentially, get bit by the bug. It looks pretty cute.
And I don't know if you remember, they dominated the Evo breast cancer donation.
Is that right?
Yes, and then they got the cease and desist from Hasbro. The My Little Pony fighting games was destroying every other game. Like these people will throw a whole bunch of money at their game, which that's great. But unfortunately, Hasbro gave them a cease and desist, and now they've remade the game with original characters, but in the pony theme.
Ponies, unicorns. I think there's a llama in there. That's obviously a little cow named Arizona. The game is cool. I'm excited about it. You can go to their Indiegogo. The game is called Fighting Herds?
Them Fighting Herds.
Them Fighting Herds. Okay.
Too many legs, not enough thumbs.
Exactly. Thank you. If that's not their slogan, it ought to be. So, we do have, of course, if you watched any fighting game streams over the weekend, you saw Tokyo Game Show, but we're going to save that for round 3, and we're going to talk a little bit about those results, because the time is now for round 2. Hey, Ryan, what's going on, buddy? We are really happy to have Ryan Filipino Champ Ramirez. In 2012, he won Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 at EVO. No easy task. He's also placed 4 times as a finalist at EVO, and he's an all-around killer fucking fighting game player. And, beaten Daigo in Street Fighter and plenty of other awesome statistics on this guy.
Won the first Rising Thunder tournament.
Oh. We're going to talk about Rising Thunder in a second, Ryan, because you've been playing
I'm the best at that game. Dude. Like, I could beat all the developers, all the players. I'm the best.
Well, we're going to get into it, man. And speaking of you being the best, you have that reputation. We talked about it at the top of the show. You have that reputation of being a villain. Again, you've said it in interviews yourself. I'm the villain. You included Chris G in that as well back in the day. You guys were the villains. You guys were the ones to beat. And again, I'll bring it up again. The times that I've spoken to you, you're like the nicest guy. So I don't understand. And I'd like to get your response to this question. Who is the real F champ, the villain or the nice guy?
I actually, all right. So the way I split it is like, FChamp should be like a villain and a bad guy, and Ryan Ramirez should be just Ryan, like how who I am. So when you meet me in person, I'll be Ryan to you, right? But like in the cameras, in the stream, or in the stage, it should be FChamp because that's my gamer tag. And I really love the feedback and the energy that I get from the fans when they boo me, like because that's when I know that they're so invested into watching how to enjoy fighting games and the show, that they're so invested, like, oh man, I want this guy to lose. So when they boo me, I fucking love that, because like that's like I really turn around and just like, hey, come on, just boo me. I really love that feeling. Like that means they do care. They want me to lose. It's so good. And I would say about 90% of the time I win when they boo me, and it's really awesome. I really love that feeling, and I don't hate them for that because I put that into myself, and that's something that motivates me a lot. That's why there's only one time that I was cheered on, was in NCR 2015, and it was SoCal versus NorCal, and all the NorCal got eliminated. It was up to me against 5 others SoCal, and I OCV'd them, and people were cheering for me. It was really weird. Even though it was in NorCal, people in NorCal don't really necessarily cheer for me still. And it was the first time I ever cheered on, and it was not. It was good, but I'm not used to it.
You look
I kinda
uncomfortable,
don't-
honestly.
It's like, who is this guy? He doesn't know how to react. But, so to a degree, is it like a persona? Is that like your stage presence? Is that, because it sounds like you feed on it. Like you're saying, yes, in real life, I'm a nice guy, but you're making the case that you prefer to be the villain.
Yeah, or you could call that a heel in wrestling, right?
Exactly.
So like, I think I like that character a lot because it makes me play better when I'm mad or people are angry. I like that because I'm a very emotional player, and I like that. I like that negativity. I really enjoy that feeling.
So,
And
yeah.
I think it got worse when I'm fighting other people that's not as accomplished or whatever. So I end up being the favorite and they're the underdog. So now that adds up on top of that because everybody roots for the underdog, and that's even much more better for me. And I feel like it's awesome.
So I want to talk about your Marvel career and even your most recent Marvel performance at Evo. But at the top of this interview, I'd really like to talk about Absolute
Sure.
Battle, to let people know about it. And you've told me that the Texas fighting game scene is one of your favorites. So right off the
Yes.
top, what do you like about Absolute Battle 6, and why do you say the Texas FGC is one of your favorites?
All right, so I see a lot of passion in the Texas community. I think I could call that a South, right? So
Sure.
I really love the passion that they put into fighting games. There's so many talented gamers out there that I met. Like I know Donkey is one of them. Jan, Ramasama. So many good players came out from Texas, and I really enjoy going there because it's not like I'm going to East Coast, something like in the middle, and I really enjoy that feeling. And I've always supported Absolute Battle right from the very first one, I think, that I've attended, and I love the staff like Fonzo, John, all those guys. They really run a great event, and I've seen it right from the very beginning, and I really like that. I treat it like Northwest Majors because I was there also right from the very beginning, and those are the two favorite, one of the, I would say, favorite tournaments that I go to. Actually, I didn't inform you, but I was not going to go this year at Absolute Battle because I had to cancel last minute. All right, I'll have to just be honest. Last year when I was in Absolute Battle, I lost my grandma, which is my parent, at the stage, and it was very painful for me. And
I remember that, Ryan. I remember that being something that you went through, specifically at Absolute Battle. Ryan, your Twitter handle on the description says, "I love my grandmother." What did she mean to you?
Basically, I just don't want to feel that again.
Sure.
So
Well, that's totally understandable. I believe.
Are you saying that since Absolute Battle will bring up that unfortunate memory, that you won't be able to make it? Is that what we're understanding?
yes.
Okay. Ryan, I'd be happy to change the subject unless there's something you'd like to say about your grandmother or your family or anything like that.
Damn, I didn't even expect this.
Ryan, I mean, when it comes to family and obviously somebody who's important to you in your life, this is totally expected. But if it's all right with you, I'll change the subject so that we can just start talking about something else.
No, it's okay. I gotta be professional. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I couldn't go, because I just don't want to be reminded again about it. It's really difficult for me. But this is one of the reasons why I couldn't go. I was trying to find a strength so I could go, but it's really difficult.
Sure. I mean, sure, losing a loved one.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, Ryan. If it's all right with you, I'd like to move on just so that we can, not make you sit there and we, it's obvious that this is still raw for you, and I wouldn't imagine it wouldn't be. I remember speaking with you last year at Absolute Battle and right after the news hit, and obviously the loss of a loved one is nothing easy to handle. We're gonna move past Absolute Battle, okay? Let's talk a little bit about FGTV. Obviously, you're in the FGTV house. When that was first announced, it was the first of its kind, really, that type of fighting game house where you'd be streaming and having players. It's changed a lot since then, and not just because the only thing you play now is Rising Thunder.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the lifespan and how things have come and gone for FGTV? I know, Donkey, you're specifically interested in this, right?
Yeah, I was interested in how, I remember I heard that you guys had been kicked out of the house for a noise complaint. I know people were actually living there. A bunch of people were living there at some point. It's had easily the most entertaining streams I've watched in the fighting game community. I mean that honestly. The play level was amazing. The characters were amazing. I just thought.
Did you like it because of all those things you just listed, or because they were playing Marvel as well? Because at the time, Marvel was the hot game when
they played Marvel. They played Street Fighter. I remember there was an early set between Champ and Rog in the new patch of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. It was good players playing games and talking about it while being interesting. And I think it's rare that you see high-level players play with high-level players in a scenario where they get to be themselves all the time. Because normally, they play each other in a tournament. But when they're playing each other at home, you get to see that level of play with the entertaining part of hearing people talk.
Exactly. Ryan, so why don't you give it to us? This is what the audience view of it and how much it was enjoyed. And
that was on FGTV Live 2012. We called it FGTV 1 because we got this big-ass house. Everything was nice. Everything was good. We had the complete staff. Whatever, all the players like Ricky Ortiz, Shady K, Pierre Barg, and myself, and a lot of NorCal guys. Unfortunately, it's too good for it to last that long, because all of me and Eduardo and Ricky and we were all living off all our tournaments and all our sponsors, and it was very good. But the house that we got is so expensive. It was like around $3,000 rent. Utilities were like around $600 or something like that. It's something ridiculous. Sure, we're still able to do it, but it was not easy for some of the members to keep it. So I lost the great majority of the important cast. I lost like Eduardo and Ricky and Shady. So I still continued it because I just got my own house, but it's not easy for me to sustain the content. Also, the house was kind of known as a Marvel house, so you could tell like when Marvel started dying down. My content started dying down and just less interest happened. So it's just, I look at it like, all right, it's time to move on. So I still got a gamer house and I continue with the gamer house, right? But it's not the same. Obviously, it's not going to be the same. Hopefully something better might happen someday, but that's what happened.
Speaking of Marvel, that's the big question. And we've asked it a couple of times here on this show. Is Marvel dead? Is Marvel still alive? When I posted this on the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 subreddit and people asked, is he still playing that game? What in your opinion is the current state of Marvel as somebody who is at least at one time the number one Marvel player in the world?
Oh man, I love that game, dude. Marvel is gonna be my favorite game, and I'm glad that I'm gonna go out as one of the legends of the game. But it's just something that, as a pro gamer, I think I need to focus on things that are more grand and more bigger. Sure, it's not Rising Thunder right now, but I want to focus on Street Fighter 5 and the future Rising Thunder. I think I would like to play those games. I'm still gonna play Marvel here and there on the side, whatever somebody wants or somebody brave enough to challenge me for a money match. But that's about it for me for Marvel. But I love playing Marvel though. If I'm playing high level or against the good players, that's what I enjoy the most because it becomes like chess, and I'm very competitive. But for now, I like to focus on because right now I'm working and playing on Rising Thunder here and there, and I'm still enjoying my Evo break, and it's a very rough, I would say, month for me and so on because it's almost a year now, from absolute battle. So it's kind of rough for me to be still playing games, right? But I'm gonna be back.
Now
So,
you've been playing Rising Thunder, and you said you're the best at it. Do you think that game will help you prepare for Street Fighter V? What do you like about Rising Thunder, and why do you continue to play it even though the hype's died down a little bit?
so it's like about Rising Thunder. One thing I like about it is that, after I get off work, I could always play somebody, and I could always scratch that competitive itch that I have. I'm very competitive, and it's always going to be a good experience. That's one thing I like about it. It's very convenient, and it's very accessible for a lot of players. I think Rising Thunder is going to prepare me for Street Fighter 5 because I have a lot of gaming background already. This one is just helping my mind, to make better decisions because the game is about decision making, Also, I do think that I'm the best at Rising Thunder because my goal there wasn't even trying to be number one. My goal was to be number 1, 2, and 3 in the world. So right now I have F-Champ Ryan 2 is number 2 in the world. F-Champ Ryan 3 is number 1. That's why it sucks. So now my F-Champ Ryan, which is the number 1 account, I'm trying to beat the number 3, which is me. So I'm trying to get them in order. So if my competition is myself, that's really difficult, So I know for sure I'm number 1. Because I have ridiculous. I have 90% win ratio, and my opponent is myself. I gotta be the best.
It reminds me of the old school arcade, your local pizza place, the Pac-Man. They would have ASS 1, ASS 2, or something shitty just to mess with people.
Yeah.
But you're doing this on a global level. I did notice on your Twitter that you posted that somebody else had taken that number 1 spot for a little bit. You took it back.
Yeah, and that was my account who took it.
Oh, I guess I didn't see that part. You were making a joke.
Yeah, it was very sarcastic because
gotcha.
F-Champ Ryan 3 was number 1, and F-Champ Ryan 2 took it. I was like, all right, somebody took it, and then I tweeted the picture, right? So I took the number 1 spot from me also.
So you mentioned Rising Thunder helped you brush up on your fundamentals. Is
Yes.
it? How does the game do that?
Because the game is less about execution. It's so simple that it's mostly about your decision makings. So, if you keep on getting punished from jumping, then you just need to work on your ground game. If you keep getting out footsie, then you just need to work on your footsies, right? So it's very simple, straightforward. If I keep getting whiff punished, I just need to walk forward more. If I keep walking forward more, and then that's keep getting countered, I need to bait a normal that keeps hitting me while moving forward. It's kind of like a lot of I would say rock, paper, scissors in high level over and over again. And that's the same thing in any game, okay? But other games may have execution to add along with it, but it's the same concept. So that's the one thing I like about Rising Thunder, that I don't have to spend a good 2 weeks to play or learn how to do my optimal combos or execute and practice. I don't have to do any of that. I could just go straight to the point and enjoy the good parts of the fighting game.
Now, would you ever release a guide for your character, or do you think that's someone else's job? Because I know, as I said earlier, in many other games, a lot of the top players stream. They release guides on how to play their decks in Hearthstone or their builds in StarCraft.
I agree.
Would you ever do that for Shell?
Yes. I've actually made a lot of content for Marvel because I love the game, and I also see doing that for Rising Thunder, and I'm really definitely going to do that for the future. And I think as most people notice that I'm actually pushing the game, I'm streaming more of it here and there. Sure, there's not a lot of big fan base, but the game's alpha, so it's normal. But I think once the game has more content behind it, more characters, or it at least goes to beta, that's the time that it's a lot more smarter to actually start making content, right? When there's more big following. So at least people would appreciate more in a more grand way.
Now, Ryan, when we're promoting this show, and again, I told you I put it on the subreddit for Marvel. We had a lot when we posted it on Twitter. A lot of the Marvel guys were retweeting it about. So obviously, we want to talk about Marvel here a little bit more.
Sure, love that game, man.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit. I'm just going to throw this at you. KBR, he's the new champ. He's number 1.
Yeah, he is. He earned it, definitely.
Yeah, what can you tell us about KBR? Your opinion of Kane Blue River, the Evo champ for Evo 2015?
Man, he's a hard worker. He definitely earned the title. He beat Justin Wong. He beat Ray. He beat a lot of good players on the ways. By the way, if somebody wins Evo, you can never discredit that, because in order for you to win like a good 1,000-man tournament, you can't get lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like, luck is not there anymore. You know, there's so many players. He beat Justin Wong. Sure, most of the games are close, but you beat a lot of players, so he definitely deserves that, okay? But I do think that if he were run into me, it would have been a different story. Like, if I was in his pools, he'd probably go 0-2, because, you know what I'm saying? But that's besides the point, because in fighting games, everybody has a counter play style, right? And that's normal. People would dodge certain matchups so they get better results. And that's normal in fighting games, you know? I have a very good stats with KBR, and I think I win about 90% of the time. So, but him winning Evo has nothing to do with that, you know? I think he definitely earned it. He deserves it. He didn't run into me and Chris G, which is definitely working in his favor.
But I used to, I would tune into FGTV and I would see you just grinding away in the training room, grinding and doing the same combo over and over and over again like a damn metronome. I don't see that as much anymore. This guy's still putting out tech. I mean, I think he posted a video a couple of days ago that's getting a ton of views with like mix-ups for all incoming characters and things of that nature. How do you feel about, and he said it. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, was it America's game and now it's the world's game? In that now everybody else is getting their chance, whereas American, we got it first, or we went through our peak and now it's kind of transitioned out?
I do think that it's still USA's game, but just because a non-American wins one tournament, doesn't mean it's not American's game anymore, okay? You look at that in the grand scheme of things. For the last 5 years of all the tournaments, how many Americans has won over a non-American? You got to look at it like that, not just one time. You know what I mean? Let's not be sports here. Like, they only remember the last thing that happened, okay, and forgets about the last 10 years. You know what I mean? So I look at it like, in 1,000 tournaments, how many non-Americans have really won? Mm-hmm. Right? I think KBR is special. He won the tournament. That's the mostly the player, right? I don't think it's there's a lot of Mexicans or Japanese who try to enter a tournament and they don't win, right?
Yeah,
KBR
but they were in
won.
top 8. We had a couple of Mexicans in top 8, including Fruitsy this year.
No, those guys are phenomenal players, but just because it happened one time doesn't mean it's not America's game. I truly believe that, because those Japanese guys, if they run into me, they would so look, if they had a pool, right, and the pool was me, Fruitsy, KBR, Cross, and RF, I would eliminate all of them, because I would go to losers also. I have to eliminate them. And none of them would ever get to top 8, right? That's how it is. And that's the truth. That's the reality of things. But it doesn't really mean that it's not an American's game, because the top 3 in the world are all Americans.
You, Chris G, and who? And
Huh?
Wong? You, Chris G, and Justin Wong are still top 3?
I truly believe so. I mean, whoever thought like it's not, they could challenge me for my spot.
Okay, I defer to the Evo results, right?
Yeah.
That they told a different story there.
Well, one Evo result doesn't necessarily mean the overall results of the overall rankings of the game. So somebody gets lucky on a flip doesn't necessarily mean he's the best. You know what I mean? So even KBR thinks that's not the best. If he thinks he's the best, then we could play it out, you know? But he's not the best.
Totally, man. Now, every Evo, I personally make it my duty to go to all the different, like nationality rooms. I always go to the Japan room. I always go to the Mexico room. The other week, I actually hosted at my house in Texas a Peruvian player, JC Jin, and he was incredibly good. And one of his buddies, ATK Zach, actually knocked me out in top 32 a few years ago. Someone who's always in those rooms is you, Ryan Ramirez, and I always see you money matching all these different players from the other countries and talking with them and communicating with them. For the people who haven't been to these tournaments, what is the feeling of being in a room with all these people who don't necessarily speak your language, don't necessarily align with your views, but you get to play Marvel with them? How does that feel, and why do you go out of your way to do that?
I love doing that because I take the opportunity to play with different type of players from different regions, because sure, we don't speak the same language, but we do all speak Marvel. You know, we all share the same passion. We love the game.
Beautiful.
And we don't necessarily need to speak to one another. You know, we could communicate through the game. You know, they will know that I'm speaking to them by the amount of L's they got on their other side, right? The amount of W's I got. They already know I'm speaking to them. I'm speaking F champ, you know? It's going to be a lot of bodying going to happen there, right? And the way it happens, like, hey, you want to play, whatever, I sit there and play. After I get up, they give me $20. You know what I mean? It's simple as that. So that's how we communicate. I don't have to ask for the $20. He just gives it to me because it's always a money match.
Now
I
on that
enjoy
note,
playing
can you
with those
clear
guys.
up what happened between you and Koji KOG? I know there was an issue with like Giuna talking about money being stolen and various things like that. Can you clear that up for people who don't know?
It was cleared already, actually, because there was like a lot of people in the back. But there was obviously a language barriers, you know. I didn't know Koji was, he didn't understand me, whatever. But I had a lot of witnesses there in front of me that was going to vouch for me. But basically, I played him for $20. I bodied him. And there was a $20 in front of the TV. I don't know if I put it or he put it, okay? So I asked him if he did put it. But he thought that I was making him pay another $20, which is like, no. So did you put it, yes or no? He couldn't answer me because he's speaking some different language, right? So I was like, what the fuck is going on? How about this? Never mind. You could keep that if that's yours. This is mine then. You don't have to pay anything. Even if I put this, I'll take the $20. But do you still want to play me? I'll play you for another 20 just to make sure. But he didn't want to play me anymore. So, but I didn't make him pay another 20. I would never do that. Like, I played for money match for like thousands of dollars over and over again. I would not cheat somebody for $20. Hello, like, come on, like, I don't care about that. But he didn't want to play me anymore. So there was a big confusion there in how it was translated. So I'm glad it was cleared right after the event, at least.
Yeah, ST Platinum here in the chat is saying that Giuna was just stirring shit up, Kappa. Anyway, let's talk a little bit. So, I mean, again, let's just confirm for anybody who's just joining, it's unfortunate news, but you won't be, and you have your reasons, you won't be at Absolute Battle 6. You were scheduled to be in the headline top card against Terry Bogard. Terry Bogard is one of the best Marvel players in our area. What can you tell us about him as a player? I mean, we're talking about players that are known, but not as well known outside of their respective areas.
Oh, Terry Bogard is putting a lot of work, man. I appreciate that kid's hard work. Like, he's definitely came out a long way, man. I remember that guy playing online and just talking shit to Drew Grimey over and over again, but I appreciate this guy's work ethic. He's definitely one of the hard workers in the community, and it was such a shame that I'm not going to be able to play him next week or this weekend. But there's always a next time. Hopefully, I'll be stronger next time. And maybe we could play on a different event. But it was really hard for me to not go to Absolute Battle because I love the staff. Those guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. I enjoyed the food also. It took me to this Texas barbecue place. Man, I went ham on that, dude. Oh, yeah. What's called that place also? The Whataburger.
Yeah, we're big fans of Whataburger around here. But
yo, that place is ridiculous, dude. I went there. They had this black ketchup or something like that.
Oh, spicy ketchup.
Spicy ketchup for sure.
Yeah, there's a black ketchup, whatever, and then black ranch or something, and then they got some, something. Everything's good.
You're making shit up now, dude. There's no such thing as black ranch. Nobody's ever heard of black ranch over here, man.
I don't know what it is, dude. It's just amazing sauce, whatever it is. It's just like Jesus sauce, and it's so good.
Well, Champ, we're going to ask you just some general questions, and this is something we're going to start asking all of our guests that compete in tournaments.
Sure.
These are general tournament questions, and this is things that have been cropping up. Do you prefer side by side or head to head?
I prefer head to head because I feel it's more professional.
And okay.
Yeah, I feel it's more professional if it's head to head. Because there's no I would say outside of the game antics, because you could do like move your shoulder, do a fake button, and you could somewhat affect your opponent's decision. Sure, it's part of the game, and I don't mind that too. I don't mind side by side, but I think it's more professional moving forward for head to head. But for a production standpoint, somebody shooting a camera, spectators are watching, it's more intense if it's side by side. So there's definitely a give and take, right? You could definitely see both their facial reactions next to each other, and you can see the game. It's really awesome experience and energy. So you definitely lose some and you gain some.
Absolutely. And Ray, what was it that Dominion was saying with respects to pad play versus stick play?
Oh yeah, pad players, they can hide their button presses because you're not hearing like the clink clinks on their buttons. You don't see their motions. Someone's doing the DP. Maybe you see a little bit of fidgeting or mashing. How do you feel about that, Champ? And then, back at Evo a couple years ago, Cafe ID, they brought their whole setup just to hide, their whole.
I remember Champ with the TACs too.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's the truth. It's very sad, but it's the truth. Like people look at your buttons and stuff. Like for instance, Fnatic told me that he looked at my buttons when I was trying to do TACs, but I have some high level meta. Like I'm pretending that I'm gonna go up TAC. I'm really making it obvious I'm going to do up, then last second will go down. So I already know that. Like, but every time I play somebody side by side, I always trick them because they always look at my hands, but it doesn't matter to me. I don't try to look at their hands, but if they're trying to look at my hands, I'm gonna try to trick them that way. But it's sad that it's the way it is, and that's the truth. Like if you're playing on pad, there's no way you're gonna read that. You're not gonna read their left bumper or right trigger. You're not gonna read that. You're not gonna look at that. Sure, it's like some sort of advantage, but what I try to do is I try not to pay attention on my opponent's hands. I try to pay attention in the game. They could pay attention in my hands. I don't care about that. I think, but for sure, there's definitely an advantage there.
Champ, we have Level Up Live. Maybe Alex Valle is who is using the Level Up Live handle, and he's saying side by side was a standard since the '90s, the arcade generation. But they're doing head-to-head at SoCal Regionals on stage and side-by-side for pools. Again, you say you prefer head-to-head?
I prefer head-to-head, but I don't mind either way because you're supposed to be versatile in those things. But I know Alex has been doing a great job in his events, and his events always innovates, what's right and what could be better for the FGC. So I was there at SER last year, and it was head-to-head, actually, in the stage. When I played Apology Man in the grand finals, it was head-to-head. Really good experience.
Ray, you had one more question for Ryan about Street Fighter V? If he's looking forward to it, I think.
Yeah, so all the news about Street Fighter V. Have you been playing the beta?
I played the beta for about the first one. We pressed any button. Too bad. I didn't press the button enough times. But yeah,
any characters you're interested in at the moment?
I played it enough times. Sure. What's the question?
The question is if you're looking forward to Street Fighter V. I'm
definitely looking forward to it. It's definitely the game that I'm very excited about. I have a strong feeling that Dalsum is going to make it, but I'm not feeling like playing Sim. I'm not that excited, but I hope his style is different. I hope he's more a mid-range fighter that's I would say that would just space you out, not completely zone you, just like space you out and corner you, walk you down. Also, I want to play a different type of zoner, not Dalsum. But I'm mostly fond of. I really want to play Ryu, or Akuma, Dalsum.
Ryu is broken in the beta, man. He's so good. Anyway, I'm gonna call my shot here. I don't think Dalsum's gonna be in the game. I think his son is.
His son?
I think his son is going to be in the game.
Where are you getting that from?
What's his name of his son?
Zen.
It's Zen. Man? Oh.
It's Apology Man. It's Vineeth Sim, the yoga master.
Zen. Oh, yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you. Have you ever seen this image here behind me on the screen?
Dude, I've seen that a million times. That's so good. I love that.
How is that not you, a mini-me of you?
That is actually me. That was me when I was a kid. That's definitely me, dude. Like, you guys, my eye.
Dude, that's the earring stole, man. All right, Champ, we usually let our guest go before round 3, but I want you to stick around because we have a clip that involves you. So, we are now going into round 3, the analysis portion of the show.
Okay, let's do it.
We're gonna. Okay, our first let me remove mini Champ from the screen. Our first match that we're going to look at is from Absolute Battle in 2012. This is a match, and you are using Ghost Rider versus Vu versus Ramasama, and we're going to play just one portion. and Donka, you said, find this clip, and we're going to play it.
So obviously, we see a dynamic strategy out of you here using Ghost Rider.
Wait, let's see if it plays from the beginning. Sorry, my bad.
We've seen you use Ghost Rider. We've seen you do Repulsion a million times. We've seen you tell Ron Masama specifically that his opinion didn't matter.
Yo, thanks for campfire.
When you are bringing the trolling into grand finals matches, is that because you're so confident you're going to win? Is it because you're just a dick? Is it because you're playing to the crowd? What is it, Ryan?
Basically, I know that Vu's good, but his good is not good enough to beat my troll. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm like at least 3 tiers above Vu. Like, I could do whatever the fuck I want. Dude, like, literally, this is grand finals. I'm fighting, like, the best Texas player at that time, and I'm playing Ghost Rider. I'm just doing backseat over and over again. Look, if he had... Look, if he was slightly, like, thinking at that time, he could just do hypergrab a little bit, or maybe Disruptor. Just punish me in between those pillars, and that would not be an infinite. That is not an infinite. You know what I mean? But to Vu, it is. It's crazy at that time. So that's not an infinite. That is definitely not a trap. You know.
Ryan, my favorite part of the clip is when it says KO and they cut to you and you got that shit-eating grin on your face, like I just did that
version of me walking off screen.
Yeah, but what's going on in your mind when you just did that and you're like, yeah, like you're dropping the mic a little bit there.
Oh, my
No.
bad.
I mean, like, figuratively, you dropped the mic on the fucking stream is what I mean.
I'm sorry about that, because I was watching. But anyways, Vu has been my friend, like, actually for quite some time. And I'm just trolling him because I actually really like Vu a lot. He's really nice to me. And we've been playing one another for, like, quite some time now. It's been, like, 3 years, 4 years. So we kind of built, like, a good friendship right there. So it was kind of cool to troll him that way. And I feel like it's such an accomplishment to do that in grand finals.
And, can't forget, speaking of your relationship with Ramasama, with Vu Tra, this is another classic clip that made the rounds on the internet.
That's a lie. That's a true lie.
It's a clip wherein you tell Vu that his opinion doesn't matter, and then they slow-mo on him, and you can literally see his heart shattering into a million pieces, and it's one of my favorite clips.
That's a lie, by the way. I'm going to tell you guys this. This is when I got hit by the media right there. Okay? So this is that was final round 2013, okay? And me and Vu, we had this good 30-minute conversation.
I got top 8.
Of arguing about a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. But I said, shut up. Your opinion doesn't matter. They only cut that part. They didn't cut like entire 20-minute conversation. They only cut that one time I said that. That's the true, like, dude, that's messed up. I was like, wow. Okay, they got me again. But I didn't defend myself at that time because I think it made me look much more of a douchebag or a bad guy. So I kept it. I decided to ride that momentum. You know what I mean? But that's definitely not true. But yeah.
Okay.
But it kind of worked out.
Well, Ryan, again, we're sorry to hear you won't be at Absolute Battle, but we're super happy that you were able to make it on the show and say nice things about Absolute Battle. Of course, it's still going to be a hype tournament.
I love that event, guys. Guys, please support. Don't forget to register. Mm-hmm. It's going to be one of the best events that you guys are definitely going to go to, especially if you guys in Texas or anywhere in the South. Guys, please try to come out. It's definitely something that you guys don't want to miss out on.
Absolutely.
Nice people, great staff. You guys are going to have a great experience for sure.
And the stream is going to be killer as well. I'm telling you, Panda, and not to mention, at first I was confused by your sponsor, Panda Gaming Global. I was thinking, or is it Panda Global Gaming? Panda Global Gaming, not to be confused with Panda X Gaming, who will be doing the stream. And it's going to be one for the books. So again, Ryan, we want to thank you for being on the show and being as candid as you were. Mm-hmm. You know, it's odd. It's sometimes unexpected to have something like this on a show where we're talking fighting games, but certainly our condolences for your loss. It's the anniversary, and we hope that that it can be at least somewhat more of a pleasant experience for you.
I'm really sorry for being so emotional, but I didn't expect it to come out of my heart. But But thanks for the opportunity, guys. I really appreciate it. I love your show. This definitely has a lot of potential for the FGC. Definitely one of the unique ones. I love that it's so professional and it's very straightforward. Good production value. I love that I could see the passion that you guys put into this. It doesn't look like a job. It looks like there's a lot of passion and love behind this. So I appreciate that, and I definitely see it. So I hope other people see it too.
Right.
And I'm definitely a fan, and good luck to you guys moving forward.
All right, pal. Well, after that,
I'm going to start getting emotional too, man.
Ryan, thank you
Quite
so
the
much,
speech.
man. We appreciate it. All right, pal. So we're going to continue. First of all, I mean, that feels nice to hear those nice things from a guy like Ryan, who's supposed to be a jerk or a villain.
From the number 1, number 2, and number 3 Rising Thunder champ.
That's absolutely right, man.
That's amazing.
Okay, we're going to move on with the way round 3 usually goes, which is we analyze plays. And Ray, can you set up what matches we'll be watching from? Or rather, what tournament we're going to be watching matches from?
All right, so past weekend we just had amazing battles at a stack tournament called Tokyo Game Show. And there we saw, players such as Mago, we had Infiltration, Bonchan, Red Bull Bonchan.
That's right. That was his first appearance.
Snake
as a Red Bull
Eyes,
athlete.
and just like a lot of names out there. But one I feel like people kind of fell off since 2012 is Team Yubiken's Dashio.
Okay.
And
I'm going to admit to you right now, the name sounds vaguely familiar, but I have no idea who he is.
so Yubiken, let's start with Yubiken. They were a fighting game show that would air about twice a month back in 2012, and they would always play these exhibitions against all these great players, namely some like Justin Wong and PR Balrog would come out to these exhibitions, but then slowly they kind of died off a little bit, and it seems that Dashio, comes out to this tournament and makes a big scene, playing Seth, of all people.
Yeah. I was under the impression that Seth, even Punko hasn't, was picked up El Fuerte to have a second character, that he had got nerfed and that he was, the most glass cannon-y that he'd ever been, and more emphasis on the glass part. Is he not as bad as I thought?
So a thing about this game right now, or we'll say about Dashio, is that Seth is a good character. He has a lot of tools. He has low health, but he has all the tools in the world. For a character like that, if you get hit, you're going to die. It's plain and simple. But Dashio's defense is spectacular. Like, you'll see so many... If you watch this tournament, which you really should do on the Capcom Pro Tour YouTube, they have the whole playlist out. Dashio is blocking every little mix-up there is, every frame trap. Like, people have to invent and take risks in order to hit him. And that's really tough for a character that's such as mobile and crazy as Seth is.
What's amazing is that despite being mobile, Seth's walk speed is actually, it's either the worst or the second worst in the game, along with Makoto. And his pokes are kind of stubby. So, like, to have that defense in that footsie game with that character is kind of unexpected with, his kind of rush down background. And if you can get in via his mobility tools, the ability to keep them out is mind-shattering. I mean, it won the tournament.
Yeah. And, throughout this tournament, you see Dashio, he drops a lot of things as well, but, that doesn't deter him from, keeping his flow of the game, his game plan. He still reacts to everything accordingly and, pushes on forward. And that's really the key things that we're going to look at when he's playing against Infiltration.
Let's watch. So we have Dashio versus Infiltration, and you sent me a couple clips.
Uh-huh.
We're going to go into one right now. So this is Dashio using his Seth. Of course, playing behind us right now is just the straight match from Grand Finals, but we're going to go into a specific clip.
No, this one...
This is just the straight full Grand Finals
Sorry.
match.
Uh-huh.
Let's go into Dashio versus Infiltration.
All right. So one thing about Infiltration and Decapre is that a lot of people, such as K-Brad, while he was commenting this, says that when you play against Infiltration's Decapre, you're kind of just watching him move around the stage. In order to really beat this character, you need to be agile and you need to play the game, play the spacing. Full screen away, she's just teleporting in and out, jumping around. But here is a prime example of, Dashio going in, playing the game.
You see DiCaprio attempt to dash in, and he catches it with the low forward, obviously OSing the lightning legs afterwards.
I accidentally cut off the dash, but prior to the beginning of this, low into the 1,000 kicks, he dashes in. You're right.
Right. He catches the dash, OSs it, teleports in, and then what you notice is DiCaprio has her regular DP. Without meter, she has to choose which invincibility she gets. So with meter, her EXDP does, X damage and it's invincible to everything. Without meter, it does a little less damage and you have to choose the light version's invincible to hits, the medium version's invincible to throws, the heavy version's invincible to projectiles. It might not be exactly that order, but it's something around that. And so what you saw is him do the hit invincible wake up DP, and he reads it by just meeting him with a grab.
So there, we don't actually get to see the animation, but the idea is that Infiltration tried to do the uppercut, DiCapri's uppercut, and he got grabbed out of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay, so there's another Dashio Infiltration clip. Can you set it up for us?
Yeah, so this one, again, we're going to see Dashio punishing Infiltration, trying to dash forward a little bit with a confirm into the lightning legs again. Just in a little bit about right here, yeah. And this is going to set up for a very crucial delayed block string right there to catch Infiltration trying to, get out of it again. And what's interesting right there is if you watch very carefully, Seth does a quick overhead. And what this does is if she will do the DPs, depending on which version as well, it will catch that. And if she does anything like an ultra or try to jump, it'll either whiff, as we see here, or it'll punish those as well. So, being in that situation multiple times, as in the other video, DiCapri's in the corner, Infiltration is going to press buttons. So he needs to find other ways to counter that. And, he does that perfectly here.
Do you think that he read the Ultra, the Wake Up Ultra, and did that little wall dive thing?
Oh, yeah. I think that's definitely enough time.
It's coming up right here. It's pretty impressive, too. Because it's almost like he planned it perfectly to land right on him. Because that's a punish, isn't it?
Yeah, that is definitely a punish.
Interesting. Okay, since we're running a little bit low on time, we're going to skip Bonchan versus Kawaguchi. And we're going to go straight into Bonchan versus Dashio. This is a specific clip. It's an entire round, if I'm not mistaken, from the grand final set. Ray, what are we going to be looking at here?
Man, we're going to be looking at a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of DPs, a lot of fireballs. The thing about this matchup is Sagat is a zoner, and Seth can play the zoning game as well. But then up close, Sagat can punish you really hard, and so can Seth. So full screen, these guys are going to play a zoning game, as you see here. And then this one is just Dashio reacting to the fireball. And in the corner, what can Sagat do? He has a slow walk speed. He has really good normals, but, you can't kick him all the time to kick him out of focus. You're going to get stuffed.
What I notice is that Bonchan is pretty well known, Bonchan and Daigo both, for using close range fireballs. A fireball is an extension of your body. You get a little bit longer than your typical poke range. And that exact range where they throw those close fireballs is getting destroyed by Dashio. He EX legs through one. He level 2 focuses through another. He completely stops Bonchan from playing that mid-range game and delegates into waiting. And then when you wait versus Seth, obviously, it just overwhelms you. So, the couple small plays he makes early on to get through the fireballs just dictate the pace of the entire grand finals.
And exactly, you have to watch the entirety of the grand finals to really appreciate what's happening. But are these reads, are these reactions? Because how on earth would you react
These
to some
are
of these things?
definitely just reads and reactions, just from small little instances. You see that right before he goes through the fireballs, he's actually standing in that range to see if he will throw a fireball or throw out the fierce kicks, which break focus attacks. And that's kind of what sets in Dashio's mind. It's like, all right, he's going to press buttons here. Well, I'm not going to walk in that range. So maybe I'll step back a little bit more and see if he'll throw out a fireball at this range, which he does. And he reacts to it because that's what he had already planned. Even though he got hit earlier for, walking in that range, that helped him dictate what his opponent's mindset is going to be when he's in that corner. Because in that corner, sadly, Sagat can't teleport yet. I hope if they come in Street Fighter V, he'll do that. But, it's crazy.
It's a thing of beauty, to be honest, because I was kind of sleeping on Seth for a while, and this really, it used to be, I'm one of those asshole stream monsters. Like, if it's not Punko, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Or something like that, or maybe Online Tony. But this, I thought, was highly entertaining.
It's because his walk speed is so slow, it takes a player with a knowledge of the ranges in order to be able to use it to his highest potential. Because obviously, he can't just walk freely in and out of range. He has to know exactly what his options are once he's kind of locked in place. Because the only way he can leave is by dashing or jumping, because his walk speed is simply too slow to do anything with. So, by utilizing his forward moving moves, by utilizing focused dashes to get plus frames in these weird situations, he's taken a limitation of his character and pretty much eliminated it.
We didn't even get to look at these badass player cards that our compadre in the control room
I like
Will
the
made.
hat. The Red Bull hat's pretty nice.
You know, it's funny that I bring it up because the Tokyo Game Show was a unique. It's literally like an E3 or some other game show, and it just so happens that at the Mad Catz booth, they put one of the most stacked invitational tournaments on the planet. What did Dashio win for his troubles, Ray?
Well, Dashio won a Capcom Premier Tournament, which puts him as an automatic qualifier.
That's right.
Now, being that this is the first event that Dashio has won for a Capcom event, means that he is at the bottom seeding of qualified people right now.
That's right. And I was like, well, who cares about how many points he won because he already qualified, to which you corrected me.
Yeah, and I believe you have one more picture to show exactly where he is. So
That's right.
Sitting right there at 16, you see everyone else, is already Capcom qualified. And there's this interesting post on Reddit off of Ace King of Sweets.
Ace King Offsuit. This dude is the man. This guy puts out the best stream schedules, the best info, the best breakdowns of how the Capcom Pro Tour standings are going. We both stumbled on it and we both liked it, but you were saying?
Yeah, and what's interesting about this tournament is that there's a saying that the rich got richer.
Mm-hmm.
All the people that have already qualified just got even more points. And this tournament really hurt players such as Itabashi Zangief, who was there and did not place that well. Also there that didn't do too well was, I believe...
Got a couple Americans. You got
Fudo.
Rog and Ricky.
Yeah, but I think Fudo was another big one because Fudo had defeated two other well-known players, but then got stumped out at 9th place and gets, 2 points for that. And that's not going to really help him for seeding coming up. I mean, Capcom Pro Tour Premier events, we're halfway done now. There's about 8, 9 left. There's not that many spots left. People are going to be moving up and down. So these seeding points are really important. And for Dashio to just come in and grab a Premier tournament off the bat right like that, it's definitely pushed a lot of people who were teetering on that edge of 32nd, 33rd right off.
Before we wrap the show, it has to be said that there were some EG boys there and girls. Also, Red Bull Snake Eyes. We had some Americans, and Hoodaman, I believe, was the other person from America that was there. I don't think any of them made top 8 in this tournament. And you would think, how the hell is that possible? This was a stacked tournament. But then again, Daigo, Takedo, they were getting knocked out. What I liked about Tokyo Game Show last year was that it was the breakout moment for Pepe Day.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Japanese circles, I imagine, and some diehards, you probably wouldn't have known who Pepe Day was. Not only did he have a breakout moment, but he catapulted El Fuerte to the top of he started showing up on a lot more people's secondaries and tier lists. This year was Dashio. Final thoughts on Tokyo Game Show and the fact that it's a invitational tournament that had a seat for the Capcom Cup, and that basically if you weren't invited, then
I just want to say one thing about Bonchan. If we look at
Chan, did you see him with the Eminem look that he had rocking?
Is that he's sitting at 10th place right now, and he has still not won a Premier tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like this guy's working so hard. But does 10th place really? Is that a good signal of where he is skill level wise? I feel like he should be a little bit higher.
It would make sense. If we're looking at this chart, Luffy is the only person that has more points that hasn't qualified than him. Arguably, he will qualify by points, but I mean, he hasn't officially qualified.
Yeah.
So, Blanchan, second place is nothing to cry about at this tournament.
No,
I'll tell a little one, which is that Shin Chang, legend, probably hates me for talking about him so much on the show, went to Japan, hopefully, because apparently they were just drafting some people into it, and supposedly Snake Eyes' girlfriend got into the invitational tournament over Shin Chang.
What?
One of the world's best young players. So I will talk. I'll give a little bit of the drama of Tokyo Game Show. But a lot of people were over there. K-Brad was over there. Talked about how great a time Japan was. So
yeah, it's awesome. And shout outs to them. And the whole context of the Capcom Pro Tour has made watching these tournaments a little bit more exciting, even if they weren't already. But that brings us to the end of the show. We're really excited because this weekend for Absolute Battle, this crew that you see here on set, yours truly's, will be doing on Sunday at Absolute Battle a morning show and a halftime show, presumably after Mortal Kombat X. We're really excited about that because, again, as we mentioned, Panda X Gaming, Panda, the guy that's streaming, is the streamer, just a streamer as I hear, is really trying to make this the best presentation of a tournament ever. us being a part of it is one small component of what this guy has cooking up, but we're really excited about it. We're going to try to bring you an interesting morning show, get you up early, drink your coffee and listen to us for a little bit, enjoy the stream, and then we'll be back for halftime to talk about what we've been seeing that day. And again, I think it's an exciting opportunity, and I'm glad that you guys are going to be there.
Oh, yeah. I love the slogan he has is get your excuses ready.
Get your excuses ready. And they've been pumping out these hilarious videos.
My favorite one so far has to be Delephantz.
Yeah?
Is my character was patched 2 weeks ago. Like, that's my excuse for Mortal Kombat. What am I supposed to do?
Exactly. You guys are competing at Absolute Battle?
Yeah, I'll be entering the Blaze Blue tournament and unfortunately the Marvel tournament.
All right. Well, I don't think that's unfortunate because now the champ is not going to be there. Hey, you might take it.
Golden Boy Dio. Remember,
Boy
Flux
Dio.
is going to be there. It's gonna be some.
There's still some heavy hitters. Everybody
Yeah.
from K-Brad, Flux. Was Flux going to be on there? I think you wrote him down on the list.
I believe Flux is going to be there.
Noel
as well.
Brown is also a talented Marvel player. And
If I win Marvel 3 at Absolute Battle, I'll divvy up my winnings among the people in the chat right now.
All right, you heard it here, guys. Hey, 1_frame says, we hate you, Donka. Why? That's not a very nice thing to say.
I mean, that's wonderful, and I appreciate that. I've actually always kind of felt the same way as Champ. I'll never forget one of my first tournaments ever was at UFGT 7. The Corn guys were there, who I'm now good friends with out of Detroit. And I kept money matching other players in a row. You know, I'm this little fat white kid playing Iron Man. Easiest prey. I beat all of them in a row, and I just keep getting all this huge shit talk behind me, and I can't tell you how happy it made me every time I want to match. So I think for people who are riled easily by stuff like that, you have to take that it means that someone cares whether you win or lose, as Ryan said. So,
And again, the last thing I'll say about Absolute Battle is that this is one of those tournaments that really almost celebrates that kind of ambiente. How do you say that in English? That vibe, I guess. So again, we're really excited about it. We also want to thank you guys for watching the show today. This is Best of 3. We do it every Tuesday. Again, as Mike always reminds you guys, let us know who you'd like to see on the show, and we'll reach out to them and get them on this show. You can write that on the YouTube VOD, which will be up later today. Again, you've been watching Best of 3. I'm your host, Efren Salinas. This is Michael Donka Schiller and Radical Ray Chun, who helped produce today's episode. Thank you, guys. See you next time.